If I want to implement every data in tree format, then complexity will be more. Database management, problems, all the data, sometime in between if I want to insert, then it is very difficult here. Because in hierarchical model, all the data we have to arrange, especially in tree format. Is it no? Then what do you mean by database model? Database model is nothing but how exactly the data is there, how it is arranged, how we are accessing, how it is stored. Welcome back to one and all. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in computer science, Vidhyaashram, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today, we are going to start with the fourth session of DBMS chapter. Whereas in the previous class, you have studied regarding what do you mean by data independence, then serial file organization, direct file organization, as well as index sequential file organization. With that, different types of architecture. Whereas data independence is nothing but changing at one level without affecting the data in another level. Two types, logical as well as physical data independence. Then when they come on file organization, serial means all the records are one by one arranged. Whereas direct means directly whichever records we want, directly we can able to access. Whereas in serial, one after the another only we can able to access. Whereas in index sequential file organization, the records, whichever record I want, first I will check where exactly it is present in the index table, then we are accessing. Then when they come on types of architecture, three types, one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture, as well as three-tier architecture. Today, you will study regarding what do you mean by database model, under that hierarchical model, network model, as well as relational model. First of all, what do you mean by database model? Under that, which are the types? What is the main advantages and what are the main disadvantages? Regarding that, you will come to know today. Then, database model. What do you mean by that model? For example, if I am going to give Taj Mahal model to you, then what exactly you come to know? Then you come to know what is the shape of Taj Mahal, then which color it is, where is the window, where is the door, everything you can able to analyze. In the same way, this database model helps to identify which is the data, where exactly it is stored, how we can able to access, how much space it requires, and which data type it is, everything here it will deals. Taj Mahal model kotta nimge gottagutte, that is which color it is, which shape it is, how many windows are there, how many doors are there, like that you can able to analyze the Taj Mahal model. In the same way, database model will going to give the same pattern, but here it will going to tell you which is the data, how much space it required, which data type it is, what is the relation between that data. Regarding that, you will study. And with that, how we can able to access, how we can able to process, everything you will study on this database model. It's a conceptual tool that describes the data relationship and data and constraints, everything it will going to describe you in this database model. When you come on types of database model, three types, hierarchical model, network model, and one more is relational model. There are three types. Hierarchical model. Then what do you mean by this hierarchical model? If you see this picture, then what we analyze? We have one root node. Only one root node is there. And all the sub nodes are connected to that particular node. And all the transaction here will take place. It means that in hierarchical data models, data are arranged in the format of tree structure. The main point itself here, it will represent, it will show the data, especially in tree format. If you want to represent in tree format, we have the root node here. This can be called as root node, or I can call it as parent node also. The remaining nodes can be called as child node. All the child node are connected to root node here. Especially here it will represent in tree structure. And in this data model, data is represented by collection of records and the relationship and representation by linking format. Here we have the collection of records. Consider here we have one record, here we have one record, all the records, collection of records and their relationship. What is the relationship and how exactly it is linked, everything you come to know. And here it follows entity that has one parent but have several children. We have only one parent but we have several children to that. But parent person should be one only here. And here it follows one-to-one relation or one-to-many relation. It follows one-to-one or one-to-many relation it can follow. One-to-one means from one node to another node, or one-to-many means from one node to sub-node. Several sub-nodes we are going to get. And here it is developed by IBM. Mainly it is developed by IBM. These are the major features. Then the first point you have to remember, all the data will be represented in the format of tree structure. Then tree means we have root, then children's, one-to-one relation, one-to-many relation. Then what are the advantages as well as disadvantages? When they come on advantages, it is simplicity, data security is there, one-to-one as well as one-to-many options is there, data can be secured, data integrity. These are the few advantages of hierarchical model. But when they come on disadvantages, implementation complexity is more here. If I want to implement every data in tree format, then complexity will be more. Database management problems, all the data, sometime in between if I want to insert, then it is very difficult here. Then it takes lot of time. Then lack of structure independence. In the structure format, also while representing, it is very difficult. Operational anomalies. These are the few disadvantages of hierarchical model. Minimum, you have to remember on around 5 to 6 points. First point, tree format. Then tree format means obviously we have root, then children's, one-to-one relation. It is developed by IBM, then advantages and then disadvantages. Next, we'll discuss about network model. The second one is network model. What do you mean by this network model? In this network model, everything is represented in the format of graph. Whereas in hierarchical model, all the data are represented in the format of tree. Whereas here, all the data, everything is represented in the format of graph. This model, data is represented by collection of records here we have. And the relationships are represented by linking format, especially in graph format. Here also we have relationship, datas, records, and then there is a link here also. Each record is collection of fields. Each record is a collection of fields. And here, which contains only one data values, and link is an associated between two records. Consider we have one store, there we have three subnodes. One is customer, manager, salesman. Once again, when they come on order, customer can also order, manager can also order, and salesman can also order. And salesman have items. In this, we have one-to-many relation. One-to-many relation as well as many-to-many relation is there. Especially here in graph format. In this network, entities are organized in graph format. Whereas in hierarchical model, tree format. Whereas in network model, graph format, which entities can be accessed through several paths. For example, if I want to come to order, then I can come from store, manager, then order. Or if I want, I can come from store, customer, and then order. If I want, I can come from store, salesman, and then order. Multiple path is there to reach a particular node. Whereas in hierarchical model, only one path is there. Only on that path only I can able to reach. Whereas here, multiple path is there. And here, the data especially will represented by graph format. And it is developed by Codacil. And here, each item, each attributes can be called as field year. It is a collection of records. Then what do you mean by records and field? For example, if you have only one character, then it can be called as character, only one. Then collection of characters can be called as attribute, or I can call it as field also. For example, N, it is opened as well as closed by single quotes for character. N-A-M-E, name. Then it can be called as string, collection of characters. The collection of these fields can be called it as, record, or I can call it as tuple also. The collection of records can be called it as table. Okay, now in this we have record, field, all the data will be there. Everything are arranged in the format of one-to-one as well as many-to-many options. When you come on advantages, it is simple and easy to implement. It is very simple. Wherever I want, there I can insert the record, and wherever I want, I can able to access. It can be handled many relations within the organization. Many relations will be there. See here, one-to-one or one-to-many relation is there. That's why here the relationship within organization will be more here. It has better data independence compared to hierarchical model. It is better compared to hierarchical model, because in hierarchical model all the data we have to arrange, especially in tree format. Is it no? Then only one root are there, only childs are arising, whereas here multiple path we are going to get. When they come on disadvantages, it is more complex system database structure. It is more complex and lack of structural dependency. These are the few disadvantages of network model. Then in hierarchical, we used to write tree. In network, we used to write it as graph. Then in graph, we have field, records, many to many. Then when they come on advantages, simple and easy to maintain as well as implement. It can be handle many relationship within one organization. Then it has better data independence compared to hierarchical model. When they come on disadvantages, complex system of database structure is more here. Then lack of structural dependency is there. These are the few disadvantages of network model. Next, we'll discuss about a relational model. Especially in relational model, all the data will represented in the format of table only. All the data will stored in the format of table only. See, relationship model has developed by EF Code. Is the person who developed this, and in this, unlike hierarchical network model, there is no physical link here. There is no any physical connection. One-to-one link is not there. All the data will represent in table format only. All data is maintained in the form of tables, relations, consisting of rows and columns. Then see here in this example, we have roll number, name and department. This is the first row. Here we have rows. All this is second row, or I can say row, record, tuple, or I can say it as entity also. And here, these heading in the table can be called as attribute. Attribute, the headings in the table can be called as attribute, and these values can also be called as attribute. And the entire column information, single column information can be called as domain here. And here, each row or record represented an entity and column represented field, that is attributes. In this model, data is organized in two-dimensional array methodology. It means that we have both row as well as column. One-dimensional array methodology means only one row, or it may be only one column. Whereas here, it is two-dimensional table relationship is there. That means here we have both row as well as column, and tables or relationship are related to each other. Both are related to each other. Here we have records, here we have headings, that is attributes or column, and here each values can be called as here field. Each values can be called as field here. This can be called as attribute or column name. And here the relationship is student relationship. The table name here we are given student relationship. Like this, the main information will come here. And when you come on the types of models, means there are three types. Then what do you mean by database model? Database model is nothing but how exactly the data is there, how it is arranged, how we are accessing, how it is stored, on which place it is stored. Regarding that, it will deals types, three types. The first one is hierarchical model, second one is network model, third one is relational model. Hierarchical model means in the tree format it is arranged. We have one root and all the subnodes are connected here, and it is developed by IBM. When they come on advantages, simplicity, data security, data integrated. When they come on network model, here especially data will represent especially in graph format. There is one-to-one relation or one-to-many relation as well as many-to-many relation is also there. And here it is developed by Codacil. In this also we have fields, everything can be called as field, attribute, and one-to-one relation, one-to-many relations. And here the data, when they come on advantages, it is very simple. Relationship within organization can be represented easily. When they come on disadvantages, more complexity, system, database, lack of structural dependency. But when they come on relational model, everything will represent in table format. In this table, we have rows, columns, attributes, heading, field, everything is there. Then advantages, when they come on advantages, the relationship between the two tables is implemented through the common attribute. No physical link here. And query must easier in relational database. Whatever query we want, easily we can write. Relational model has more programmer friendly. Here it is more friendly. Whichever record we want, directly we can able to access, because everything will represented in the format of tables only. And example, Oracle, MySQL, MyBase, database. These are the few examples for relational model. It means that on this class you have studied regarding what do you mean by data model, that is the general structure, types, 3 types. First one, hierarchical, it means that tree format. Second one, network means graph format. Relational model means especially in table format. In hierarchical, you have studied that. In hierarchical, you have studied tree format. Then here we have node, one-to-many relation, and advantages as well as disadvantages. In the same way, whereas the next one, network model also, here the data will be represented in the format of graph format. There also many-to-many or one-to-many, many-to-many, one-to-many or one-to-one. There also advantages, disadvantages, we have field, record, everything is there. But when you come on the relational model, in this relational model also, table format. In table we have record, column, attribute, but there is no any link here, whereas in both hierarchical model as well as in network model, in both the case we have linking connection, whereas here we does not have any linking connection. Then you can write regarding advantages as well as disadvantages. These are the things you have studied on this class. Next class, we will meet with the remaining concept of the same chapter. Thank you for all of you.